Okay, let's do this. Hi, everybody. My name is Richard.lesperance. I go by the name of my man Richard. Today I have today I could say it's a special episode because I never had that kind of guest on my show. Someone who has touched Hollywood. So I think you guys are gonna like this episode. So I've watched some of his stuff. So it's something that I wanted to do too. So he comes at a good time.
Beautiful.
His name is Russell Andrews,
Mhm.
and please, Russell, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your story. Who is Russell Andrews? Let me be before I just want to mention to the people he has been featured in movies such as The In-Laws with Michael Douglas, The Punisher with John Travolta, and I think is it a documentary or the television with the Lifetime with Michael Jackson searching.
For Neverland, no,
Yeah.
it was actually a film. It was based on a book that was written by his lead security at the time, and the guy took notes. It wasn't secretive. It didn't go behind the scenes in ways that would do damage to Michael, but it was pretty expository. Um, And, we had a chance to do it. And the guy who played Michael, his name is Navi. Navi is English. And when I tell you Navi has done the actual work to his aesthetic look, he looks like Michael. He walks like Michael. He talks like it. That's his thing, and that's how he makes his living. As I hate to say impersonator, it has a negative connotation, but he is just an ultra fan, and he has made his life as Michael's number one impersonator with the blessing of the family. But anyway, yeah, that was the Michael film, Searching for Neverland. Um, Let me say, I'm from Texas and originally born there. I did my young life there. Played ball in college. Had the proverbial injury, so I had to go to school for real, right? and and sociology was my study. So I took that into prison life, thinking or hoping at least I can make a difference. And it turns out I learned things about myself and other things that I had no idea existed. I grew up in the cut, right? So I'm not going to try to sugarcoat that. But even walking into that camp and for the 5+ years that I worked there, um, it was a life inside of a life. And oh, it was interesting, man. But anyway, I stumbled into acting. I took a friend to an audition in Texas, in Houston, which was my mainstay. Um, I ended up, by virtue of just being there, the artistic director asked if I would read. I ended up getting the role that my friend went for. He got another one, and 30 some odd years later, here I am. That's how it all happened. I messed around in school, but never to any large degree. Matter of fact, nothing that you could even put on a resume. But I started out in Texas and I moved to New York. I wanted to play with the big boys, and I was green. As a matter of fact, I was light green. Was, it was interesting, but I jumped in, man, and I had a chance to meet August Wilson. And after that, my whole life changed artistically. I became known as the hired gun. I was part of that. I was pretty much one of, if not the one of the youngest of the Wilson crew, and the last, if you will, that had a chance to work with him to a large degree before his passing. So Wilson is extremely responsible for my career, even though that was stage and theater. You know, that career led to TV and film and what have you. And I was fortunate enough to take two of August's plays from the table to the stage to New York, regionally to the UK. We won the Olivier with Jitney. I've been fortunate, if not blessed. My children are my existence. So beyond my career thing, that's it. That's it. I love them. They're in New York, both of them right now. One in school, and one's a new teacher. So if I go off, which I tend to do when I'm speaking, it will be about them because they're my best friends. And I'm still fascinated that I was blessed to be able to be a father and to kind of watch their life as it goes.
So what was your first TV role?
Oh man, my first TV role. My first of any significance. Well, I did something years ago. It was a show very popular here, New York Undercover. Years ago, it was my first one in New York. Malik Yoba, Michael De Lorenzo. It was a guest spot. I was really excited to get it because again, I'm a theater guy, and so TV was new. I'd done a couple of commercials, but never like this. And but my next one that, for what it's worth, I would say put me on the map. I did the Cosby Show, and yeah, I played Patti LaBelle's fifth husband. That was the your face. That was the hook, and I carried her dog around because she, Patty's this diva, and she's a real diva. It was so fascinating, though. It was the first episode that Mr. Cosby, and I say that respectfully, I understand his history. I'm not in that. One, two, it's not my business, though I feel and have compassion for all who were hurt. But he's always been Mr. Cosby to me. It was his first episode back after his son was killed. Very tense moment. And we were all in the room at the studio in Queens waiting for the reading to start. He was there on time at the window smoking his cigar, waiting for Miss LaBelle to come in. And as it is with her, she was late. And it was a little tense, but it was cool. Miss Rashad was there and all the other people in the show. And she came in with all of that bluster, all of that Patti LaBelle-ness, if you will. And she diffused the tension because no one had spoken to Bill. And he's not that kind of guy, but you have to understand the moment. I say all that to say that was my first big TV thing. I didn't know how to, I mean, I had like a role, right? I didn't know how to act, what to say. You know, I couldn't be this clumsy fan, of which I was. I am. I'll be a fan of yours when we're done here. I just like to see people do their thing. And I just, it moves me. And coming where I'm from, brother, I never give up that love. I never failed to give up that love because, that we're on the planet at all, but to be able to do what we do and exchange the way we do. And she diffused the room to the point Bill had to laugh at himself and the gruffness that he was carrying, and it was warranted. But that was my first moment to see these A-list. Well, Bill was Bill. He was beyond A-list, but to see these stars, these black people of such a importance and magnitude work amongst themselves, and that love and that family thing that happened, even though this guy was essentially larger than life, it took actual, it took that black love to, again, to bring it back home. God help anyone that has to deal with the loss of a family member, a child, a son, or anything. But I learned something in that was so much bigger than the week on the show. I've never forgotten it. It is one of my proudest moments. It the doggone thing still runs somewhere in the country, if not the world. I mean, they pulled everything for a minute, but the reality is, beyond all that, it was a good show. It was a good work, and it put me on the TV map, and there we are.
So did you have any lead role in your career?
Yes, man. I've done several series. I'm there. I guess one of the most popular here. I don't know. You're in Montreal. I don't know if you guys get Insecure, which is HBO's thing with Issa Rae. I was I was recently vice principal Charles Gaines on the show, episode two, season two, episode 2 and 7's recurring role. And I won't say he was a racist principal, but he just kind of looked out for his folk at the school, and he ended up being a little controversial. I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but it was funny. And to date, and that's been a couple of years, but to date, that is something I can walk in any room and, oh man, you're Charles Gaines, you're Principal Gaines or whatever, to younger people and to those who worked on the show. I I've done NCIS, New Orleans. I've done the Grey's Anatomy. I did I was co-star, like you said, with Michael Douglas in The In-Laws. Actually, we shot half of that in Toronto. And I am forever known as Jimmy Weeks in The Punisher, Marvel's Punisher with John Travolta. Again, something that it sticks with you. I've never done what they call the Comic-Con, going around the country signing, you know, they have pictures and you go and to these big things and you sign pictures. I mean, it's lucrative if you're a giant star, but it's kind of, for me, done. I love the work and it's okay. I just feel like I'm selling snake oil, you know, just signing pictures for a film I did some time ago. But there are rabid fans out there. Yeah, I've been very fortunate. Again, some TV series here, the Defenders, and like most actors, I have 2 or 3 that were series that you guys would never have seen, and some of them just get cut after a while. There's so many shows done every year, you know, that they fail to find the audience. But a lot of my work has been in theater. That is where, again, I cut my teeth. It's my first love. And if I could do just that, I would. I'm in Los Angeles, of course, and it's not a mecca, if you will, for theater, though it has very good stuff here. East Coast, UK, That's theater country. Um, Quiet as it's kept. They have a nice theater community in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Who knew? Who knew? It could be the Broadway of the Midwest. It is just wonderful work being done there in the small and large theaters. But I produce theater here. I direct here. I won pretty almost. There's one that I didn't, but we won as a company. Um, Pretty much everything there is to win award wise, but beyond that, I developed a nice company. And I had some very wonderful, very visible actors and who helped me. James Avery, Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince. He was my first company member. Loretta Devine, now a longtime friend from Houston. I didn't know her from Houston. I met her here. Vanessa Bell Calloway. All those people helped me build my company. And here I sit, on the cliche, on the shoulders of people who saw what I wanted to do. And they gave me an opportunity to give them an opportunity to be on stage in the way that you don't always get to see them. Broadway's so big and the theater's so big and you sit so far away, but I did it in intimate theaters, 99 seats. So you got a chance to come and see your star. I mean, arm's length away. And they delivered. They are TV people, but I tell you, the best of us, I say this with pride, we come from theater and that training and that discipline. And that's kind of what my career has been about. I didn't study. I studied after I got in. I went back to study, but I won't say I wouldn't have it any other way, but I will say it's been a journey, but every moment has been worth it.
So how was the journey like the lifestyle of Hollywood? We all know like sometimes when you get started, you move from some place to, let's say, from New York to LA
Mhm.
and try to make it. How was that journey? Like did you had any struggles and all that?
Well, I tell you, the first of all, the Hollywood lifestyle has levels and it ebbs and flows. I do not know. Well, I know, but I don't live the life Denzel, your Brad Pitts, your DiCaprio's and some of the huge directors. Met them, spoke, had a chance to work with a few in different things in some order. But that's a whole nother world. And the tax on that is has to be immense because it's not necessarily reaching that altitude, if you will. It's staying there. And the things that people do to stay there, I won't judge it because again, but for the grace, walking in another man's or woman's shoes, blah blah. But this is a tough town, and that cliche of "What have you done for me lately?" It's real. It's real. I think what happens is stardom does certain things to certain people, but truthfully, Richard, it's not so much that the star changes, their circle of people change, their friends, their families, the expectation of them. And it's not that everyone's asking you for money all the time, of favors. And this is pervasive from the top to the bottom in terms of stardom or visibility or whatever. People want you to be who they see on TV. They expect to meet that person in the grocery store, at a restaurant, on the bike path, or whatever. And it's not that they're disappointed if you don't come through as this person they've held up for whatever reason. It's not that, but you become human like them, and that's a double-edged sword. We all are human. We just happen to live a somewhat of a different lifestyle. Money is green, you know, food costs, kids get colds, you know, there's that lifestyle. So the journey, while it is completely different for every actor, the journey is there's so much along the way that has nothing to do with acting. But all of that we see and witness on this journey is what we use to be actors. What we do is we reflect, if you will, society back to itself. On stage, we do in 2 or 3 hours more than some people do in 2 or 3 months. In terms of the veracity, the variety, the passion, and you'd be surprised. A lot of your TV stars will tell you that they love the work, they love the money, they love the fandom and all that comes with it. But there are times when they just absolutely get bored because they're doing the same thing over and over and over. It's just another story. Law and Order, which is of our best shows ever in TV, has been around over 20, damn near 24, 25 years. I'm not sure, I've lost count. The reason it works is because they pull their stories from the headlines, if you will, and they script them, put them on TV, and try to do it with as much reality as our, networks will allow. But all of those people have had a journey. There are some who moved, like myself, from New York to Los Angeles. I was married at the time, and my former wife wanted to write for TV. And we came out with the expectation she would have a job writing. We got here, we did a drive away, and the furniture was about a week behind us in a truck, right? We got here and there was no job, thus no apartment. And so we were on the phone, man, at Melrose and Highland, right there in Hollywood, on the phone calling everyone we knew. Where could we crash for this hot minute, And by virtue of her father, who was in the music business, he knew some people. This one brother, Greg Brown, rest his soul, had a house right across from the Hollywood Bowl, and we were able to stay there 3 weeks, found an apartment, temp jobs, blah, blah, blah. And we started that situation there, came here jobless. I would not advise that for anyone. I would say don't come out here unless you're asked to come. And I would also say have a fallback, because my story is mine. I'm very tenacious, very opportunistic. And there are things that you're going to have to do that you don't want to do, but you have to ask yourself, what do you want? What are you willing to do to get it within legal means and moral means? Because that story exists here also. Mine is different, and I came the hard way. I don't have, the Hollywood story. All I had was $5 in my pocket, but I don't have that one. I may have had 7 or 8 bucks in my, but I'm not going to be on the um I'm not going to be in front of camera telling people that story, because again, the guy who's watching it or a woman who's watching it may have less. So who am I to cry about that? Um, it's been interesting, man. And as it's funny you asked that question. That is such a broad question. Journey now becomes such a huge word, because I heard a guy say years ago, and I've never forgotten it, that it's better to be prepared and have nowhere to go than to have somewhere to go and not be prepared. And I don't know if I was prepared for the art when I got here, but I was prepared for life, which is something I advise any, I won't say young actor, anyone who's struggling with anything, trying to make it. One day the phone is going to ring. One day someone's going to knock on that door, and are you ready? And I I was thrown out in the middle of the ocean. I didn't have a choice. I wanted to play. I wanted to play with the big boys. I went to New York. I came here, and every day is on the job training. Um, I don't have the collegiate network of people. I didn't go to school for that. So I have to make friends, make acquaintances, and try to make some lasting friendships, because it becomes about that moving forward, who you know. But uh, I'm one that believes that the name on the back of the jersey is more important than the name on the front. So I try to hold on to some value, some character, because I do have kids also. So, well, I say kids, they're older, but I need to show them more than my journey or my career in the business. You know, I want to teach them about life and hope that there's some kind of light for somebody, as they move forward.
Uh, it's very interesting stuff. Uh, Time is running out on my side. I'd like to do a part two with you if it's possible.
Oh,
I know you have the,
absolutely, man.
because I have other questions, and like I don't want to just rush through everything. Like I want to give the people uh a full meal of content, and like the whole industry and all that, like the journey and the theater world too. So and for future people who want to go into that industry, like that feel like the acting feel like the process and all that. So like
Richard, say the word, man, and we'll do it whenever you want to.
yeah. Yeah,
I'm
I want to do it. I want to do it quick. So
Mhm.
when we stop there, we'll just talk and see when we could schedule another thing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I
But
mean, again, as soon as you want to.
yeah,
I'm
no,
that flexible.
no problem. Where can people find you now on social media and the work that you do now?
I am. Let's start. Of course, I have the long Facebook history. Russell Andrews. It's on Facebook, and the pictures of me and my kids, and they have all this hair or whatever. On Instagram, I am a Russell Andrews. That's Instagram. I am not a X or formerly Twitter guy. Really, I have a presence, but I never pursued it. I don't see that as a very interesting social media outlet for me. It tends to be a little I don't even know how to speak to that, but people use it for business and pleasure, so it's not for me to speak on, but I don't have a presence there. My website, though, is where you can find a lot of what I've done, and it is arussellandrews.com. That's www.arussellandrews.com. That's majority of my work, my new book that we'll talk about next time, because that story is the story of the book, is I think is as significant as the book, which is a children's book, but it's based on a true story.
All right, yeah, that's the thing too. I forgot the book too. I wanted to talk about. Yeah, we'll talk about it next time. So,
Yeah.
thanks, Russell, for being here. It was nice meeting you and talking to you. I really enjoyed that conversation, and I hope everybody did enjoy too the conversation. On that note, thank you everybody for taking the time to listen to the podcast. Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. My name is Richard.lesperance, and I go by the name of my man Richard. And I was with Russell Andrews, and we'll see you for the part 2.
My man Richard, God bless Haiti, man. God
Thanks.
bless Haiti. My
Thanks.
man. Peace.
All right.